Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. Once again, time for a shop tour, and it's actually, because you guys may or may not know this, but we always do the shop tours the day before they come out. That means it's coming out on the 25th. You're seeing it here. So we're doing it on my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Yip-de-doo. I figure once you get past about 25 and your insurance starts to get cheaper, who cares, right? You're just another day older. Another year older. So, in the shop working today, of course, for those of you that have sent me happy birthdays on Facebook and texts, I probably won't get back to all of you because I already had like 390 something notifications, so I can't even get on Facebook today. But thank you to all of you. Yes, I'm another year older, which means I'm 48 this year. So, there you go. Now you know. All right, let's get into the shop tour. So, got a special shout out today to an unknown person because I opened up a package yesterday and opened it up. I had no clue what it was or what was in it, and you're going to have to zoom in on this. But this is a keychain with a Mazda 2 on it, number 34, and if you can see on the bumper, it even says cutie car. Because that's what I call the little Mazda 2, for those of you that didn't know that. I call it a cutie car because it's a Mazda 2. Thank you very, very much. We're gonna go hang this up over by the cutie car itself, and it'll be like my little mascot keychain. Kudos, thank you. All right, shop tour time. So I was just finishing up some new rub strips for the nose of the Camaro. I've been using Jabrock, which is an extremely hard wood material. You can see that this one's been slightly rubbed on a little bit. So this got rubbed on out at High Plains. You can see that they did a little mark on it to see how much more it may or may not rub. It didn't rub past this amount, but what I ended up getting was some hard Delrin that we're going to try. So we're going to put this Delrin under the nose of the car. So these just go up under the nose. Super expensive carbon fiber nose on this car. So we'd prefer to rub these down if we're going to hit versus, you know, $5,000 nose. So that's what I'm working on here, just about to have those done and get those on the car, and we'll be looking good. Did just get in the fuel pump for the Porsche. So if you've been watching, you saw that I was talking about you know, how I was having fuel pressure issues. This pump looks like total garbage. I'm not saying that the brand of pump is garbage. I'm saying this pump looks really bad. So it's a Weldon pump. This thing it weighs like 15 pounds, but it's got, check this out. So like I was saying, this thing makes a lot of horsepower, right? So this thing is scavenging -10 off the bottom of the tank, coming around through the initial filter into this pump. This is the size line we use for oil, right? And then it goes down to this -8 on the outlet. So I've got the pump in there, but what I'm actually getting ready to do is pull these down. I had this line off and it was super clean, but I want to pull these two filters down. There's a pre-filter and a post-filter. Considering how much corrosion that I saw up in the, you guys saw as well, in the fuel rail and the fuel injectors. And by the way, they got all cleaned up and it actually worked out fine. They're monstrous injectors. They're flowing like 1,000 cc's a minute. But got them all cleaned up and looking good. And it actually was running fine, except for the fuel pressure was varying a lot. And that pump sounded like it was grinding metal on, I don't even know how to put it. Like, have you ever seen those machines that'll grind up anything? You stick them in there and it'll grind up a block. That's what the inside of that pump sounded like. So I'm betting this pump's going to sound good, but in order to protect our investment here, I'm going to take these pumps apart, or these filters apart, and make sure of what we've got going inside there. So, okay, progress on Ken's car. Pretty sure I had the transmission in last week. I did get in the We're using these little Heim joints now for the shifter mechanism. The stock shifters on these, it's not even really a Heim joint. It's more like just a little ball roller deal, and they get worn out. And Hone Developments makes this really cool Heim joint setup for the shifter linkage. So I got that all completed, and now what I'm working on is I'm going to install, and you guys have seen these before, right? These Aero Catch latches. We've talked about them lots of times. This hood for the Integra has these style latches. And there's a couple things I don't like about these. They're a little bit flimsy for me. And honestly, the way these are installed, I think that something could very easily catch this and pop it up and off it comes, right? This, and the other thing that I noticed, and I hadn't seen these before, guys, check this out. They used to only make the red aluminum pins that I knew of, but I was looking around and I found these stainless steel pins. So this will now come up into here, latch down, and that is not coming off, right? That is going to hold that pin permanently, and we also will have a more aerodynamic hood as well. So I'm gonna delete all of these. I'm gonna put some Aero Catch latches into the car, always trying to improve things. I've got one speed sensor plug to work on, and then the other thing that we've talked about before is this, right? You guys know what this is. Liquid filled gauge for the AccuSump. Take a gander inside the car on this, over on this side here, and take a look at the gauge on the AccuSump. In my opinion, these gauges are garbage when they come out of the packaging. So I always, they're inconsistent, they break, they're inaccurate, and you really don't get you really can't tell what you've got. You can get one of these. I mean, it's just a Canton liquid filled gauge. They're actually made for AccuSumps. Google it on Summit. Get rid of your junk AccuSump gauge. One other thing we were talking about, remember how we had our Elkhart Lake vintage report a week or so ago? Was that a week ago or 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? Last week. I'm getting too old, see? I'm already a year older. I can't, CRS, can't remember you know what. So, we were gonna do a little in-car video, and apparently NASCAR flagged us for copyright infringement for an in-car video on Road America. So we're gonna fight that here for a week or two and see if we can figure out what's going on there. Try and get some in-car video up. Who knows, right? It's probably just an AI thing, but probably not gonna have that up quite yet. So that's why that wasn't up earlier this week. Okay, you can see that the Camaro is down on the ground again. So I had taken the transmission out. Can't remember if we had the transmission sitting over there last week. I think we did, didn't we? Got it rebuilt, put it back in, but he has two transmissions. So I actually took this transmission apart as well. You guys have seen these over the different shop tours, but this is an X-Track 5-speed sequential transmission. It's amazing how light it is. Very expensive, very cool, very nice. But, and I'm not throwing Steve under the bus here because lots of you out there probably can't drive a dog ring transmission very well either. And he's learning, right? Look at the dogs on that baby. That is the definition of wiped out. These are supposed to be nice and square, and they just get rounded off. So why do they get rounded off? Basically because you're trying to use it like a synchro box. You're not matching the revs. When you go down through the gears, you need to blip the throttle, and it'll disengage that dog and go right into the next gear. If you don't match your revs, you're going to tear up your dog rings. So he got to buy 4 more dog rings for 2 transmissions. Anyway, one transmission's in the car, completely prepped. All the nut and bolt checks done. The alignment's been checked, cleaned, ready to go. So we're actually looking really good on the car, except for his trailer is off getting some repairs, which I also take care of. So it's off at a trailer repair shop here in Topeka. So it's going to sit here for a little bit, which is fine. Okay, Mazda 2 update. Have I done anything on the Mazda 2 since last week? That's a good question. I did remove the oil filter adapter housing off the old engine and put an oil filter on there. The next thing I'm going to start working on is my pulley system, but I need to find some time to get started on this engine. Normally, I spend my weekends, if I get some time. We actually had a pool day last Saturday, so I didn't get a chance to spend a lot of time on her, but we're still looking okay. I've got all the bits and pieces, blocks on the engine stand. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I've got a couple more pieces coming in, but they're mainly auxiliary bits and pieces. Blocks on the engine stand now, so we're ready to start assembly. So I need to start cleaning, organizing, and getting ready to do some assembly. We've got some good. We've still got some time, right? I know I'm stumbling here a little bit. For those of you that were up at the Cat National last weekend, a couple different shout outs. I'm going to give a shout out to John Brackey, who did a 28-1 in Sunday's race. Really good lap time. I don't know what the conditions were like, but I heard they were pretty good. But either way, that's a really good lap time, so kudos to John. Had a bunch of guys up there running and a bunch of funny little things. I know David Bednar's had a shifter break off in his hand on Saturday while leading, and then I had a bunch of Miata guys. I think Mike Froh spun, and Eric Greisinger might have collected him a little bit. Have not heard how bad that body damage may or may not be, but these are all things I get to hear. So for those of you guys that are going to the racetrack, think you can hide stuff from me. I got little birds everywhere. I know pretty much everything that happens. But anyway, lots of good racing went on. I heard there was a really good race between Chuck Mathis and Steve Sargis on Sunday in age production. So these guys are all getting ready to go for the runoffs too. They're getting tested up and ready to rock and roll. But I'm going to spend my summer working on the little cutie car. Look at that. I'm going to hang it right up here like a good luck charm. Be watching over my whole engine build. Superstition, right? I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to stop bumbling. Hopefully we'll get the in-car video for the vintage race in the MGA up in the next week. If we can get our little YouTube copyright NASCAR problem taken care of. And then, so keep your eyes open for that. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, it's going to be super hot here next week in Topeka, but we are rolling into August pretty soon, so we are due for some heat. Haven't really had a lot of heat, really big heat yet here in Topeka consistently, so it's coming. Hope you guys are keeping cool and working on your race cars. Keep after it. Have a good rest of your week. Take care.